Something I've mentioned in my videos is that Nathan died aged 13, and he died near Melbourne, and he died on a Saturday. It was Saturday the 7th of February, or Black Saturday, and he was 13 years old, which happens to be the wind speed in Melbourne right now, and he died on the 7th, which is the wind speed in Perth right now. And Nathan was born on the 24th of November 1995, and that's the wind speed in Sydney right now. And 212s are 24. He died on the 7th. 7 is the wind speed in both Perth and Adelaide. Nathan was 13, the wind speed in Hobart. Now if you write Dark Tower, it has a value of 115. Dark Tower, 115. Mirror equals 91. Mirror is 91. 19 is the keystone number in the Dark Tower by Stephen King. God equals 26. Or spell God backward, you get dog. And Jake Wetterling had a pet dog named Marcus, and recently Australia got hit, or Darwin got a direct hit, which is up here, from tropical cyclone Marcus. And Nathan was a regular visitor to Darwin. Nathan was born on the 24th, and the first cyclone this year was named Dahlia, and Dahlia has a value of 35. And Dahlia was named by Indonesia because it formed up here near Java. True, true, true. And we had a cold front come through today, cooled things down a bit. It's been unbelievably warm this whole autumn and pretty dry in Australia, but we got some rain today. So it's now 7:50 p.m. Friday 4th of May 2018, and I'm looking right now at the time in Jakarta, Indonesia. It's 7:51. Bad equals 7, angelic equals 51, and demon equals 51. Hawaii also equals 51, and something happened in Hawaii today with a volcano erupting, which is really strange because today is the birthday of a boy named Oliver, who I know and who is at the heart in a way. He and some other boys I know are at the heart of this prophecy, as are Jacob and Nathan, as in Jacob Wetterling and Nathan Breeze. Speaking of prophecy, the word prophecy has a value of 106. As you can see, that is the longitude of Jakarta, 106, the value of prophecy. And red rain has a value of 609, thereabouts, is the latitude of Jakarta. So it is kind of weird, because Daniel is the name of the evil twin in the story Red Rain by R.L. Stein, and Daniel was also the name of Jacob Wetterling's killer, as in the guy who murdered him back in 1989. He went by Danny, but his name was Daniel James Heinrich. And Daniel's also the evil twin in Red Rain, and my name also has a value of 45, as in Phil. Phil equals 45. And today is the 4th of the 5th. 4th of May. And devil equals 52. So does Josh. Have faith, Josh. 10:9:45 was a message I saw in a dream going back to 2012. Have faith, Josh, 10:9:45. So the time 9:45 might factor into this somewhere too. Today is actually 125 days before Thursday the 6th of September 2018. And that's actually the birthday of the boy who I call the Mirror Boy. the mirror boy of Jake and Nathan, whose name is William. And 125 is the value of wedge-tailed eagle, which is the bird I connected first to Jake and then to Nathan. Angelic Lucifer equals 125. Bad Angel William, young, hot, hosking boy. Demon Satan's the snake boy. Demon Lucifer, the hot bad boy. He's Papandayan, bad twin devil. And this is the name of a mountain, a volcano in Indonesia. I haven't mentioned this one before today. Today, something drew my attention to this name. And now I'm thinking this is actually the volcano that's going to erupt. This is the one that the prophecy is for. I'm not sure yet how you pronounce it. So I'm just going to say it the way it reads. Papandayan, bad twin devil. His Puntang, the bad twins. Hot volcano. Hell, the volcano. The volcano named Papandayan is Jacob. And you'll see, you may not have noticed, but I went from 125, things with a value of 125, to things with a value of 152. Basically, I added a few more numbers. And yeah, it's a reflective number. The volcano named Papandayan is Jacob, Wetterlings, Serpent, Satan, Cyclone, Marcus, True Sign, Fourth Flash, William. 15 and 2 is 17. Jake Wetterling was born on the 17th. And it's now 7:55. Friday, 4th of May, in Jakarta. Satan's 55 and light and flames equal 56. Flames. So what got me thinking it might be Mount Papandayan instead of Mount Tambora? Because that was only today that happened. Well, for starters, today is Oliver's 9th birthday, which I had kind of forgotten until today. And yeah, so Oliver is one of the boys who I've talked about in previous videos. And something happened going back last December. It was actually the 13th of December last year. Something happened. And it involved Oliver. And it involved some other boys. Oliver was with me on Wednesday 13th of December 2017. When the really strange event happened involving Samuel's red hat. And Murder 11. These boys are wearing red socks and red shirts. Murder 11. So it was the 13th of December, and that is also the birthday of a friend of mine who was born on Friday the 13th, and whose surname used to be Ash. Well, I guess with a capital A. I wrote down what happened at my work that very night on 13th of December last year while it was still fresh in my memory. What happened on Wednesday 13th of December 2017? Well, here's what I wrote at the time. I'm feeling a bit gobsmacked right now. The strangest thing happened today, and it involved 3 of the kids at my work, namely Samuel, Oliver, and Elliot, who I haven't had the chance to talk too much. The chance to talk to much during the last month. Today I did. So I wrote this back then, the day it happened. Oliver had been asking me every week. I've made a few edits to it today. Oliver had been asking me every week for the last month to bring the novel Red Rain by R.L. Stein because he wants to have a look at it. Oliver is of Norwegian heritage, and he's got the blonde hair and blue eyes reminiscent of the twins in that story. When Oliver asked me about Red Rain today, he was in the company of 8-year-old identical twins. True. Who have sandy brown hair and pretty interesting personalities. Even by my crazy standard, when it comes to ridiculously, highly unlikely coincidental things happening, the strangeness factor of what I'm about to tell you went far beyond anything I've ever experienced before in my life. Period. It totally and completely blew my mind, and it blew their young minds equally. I could both see and feel this as they became fully aware of what had just happened. It started with me thinking to tell Samuel, who was born in Jakarta, Indonesia, that he's a red-hot volcanic boy. Unlike the other kids who were wearing their green school uniform hats, Samuel was wearing a bright red hat, so I asked him, "Do you know what a red hat means?" And I was going to make that little comment that he's a red-hot volcanic boy or lava boy because Mount Agung was erupting, or had just been erupting, a couple of weeks earlier. "Yeah, a red hat means 666. He instantly shut back. Keep in mind that I had never said a word to any of these kids at this school about my predictions, or about Jacob Wetterling, or about Nathan Breeze. Zip, zilch, zero. 5 or so minutes later, I decided to tell the 3 boys, Oliver, Elliot, and Samuel, about my ridiculously precise prediction for Mount Agung in Bali to erupt with an ash cloud more than 10 kilometers high at 6:45 p.m. local Indonesian time on Friday 22nd of December 2017. I was confident enough that it wouldn't happen in reality that telling them about it felt like a pretty harmless thing to do. Something we could talk about. And I could see how they reacted. "I bet you $100 it doesn't happen," was Elliot's response. I refused to shake his hand when he offered it to me. When I offered to bet a Mars bar instead, he looked appalled. "Nah, I'm not making a bet for a Mars bar." So he thought that was not worth it. So far, so normal. Seriously, before I go ahead into what happened next, I have never before mentioned anything about Jake Wetterling to these kids or to any of the kids at this school. Never once, never anything about my predictions either. Nothing at all. True, it's now 8:01 on Friday, 4th of May. What's happening with our weather? Oh, we've now got the God 26 number in Sydney. Jacob Wetterling has a value of 164. The Mirror Boy is 15. 6, the Devil's number. Turn 6 on its head, you get 9, as it says in the Dark Tower. The Mirror Boy was born on the 6th of the 9th. 6 and 9 is 15. The Mirror Boy's age. Bad equals 7. 2 sevens are 14. Dead equals 14. 15. The Mirror Boy's age. 19. The Keystone number in the Dark Tower by Stephen King. It's now the wind speed in Canberra, as well as tomorrow's forecast maximum. Still 9.1, the value of Mirror. 91 is the value of Mirror, Spirit, Wetterling. So a couple of minutes later, all 3 boys began talking about some boy named Erwin, who it seemed was the victim of a murder. My ears pricked up immediately, but not too much because I've kind of gotten used to strangely coincidental stuff happening around me. But when I think about it, an Indian boy named Gaurav at another school also mentioned a couple of weeks earlier that Irving sounds like Irwin, as in Steve Irwin, or he said something like that. Gaurav wasn't aware that Irwin is Jake's middle name, or that I believe the man who tried to kidnap me when I was 13 was named Steve. Next thing,
Oliver and Elliot said something else that really got my full attention. They both started talking excitedly and spoke very rapid words to me, ending with murder 11. Irwin, murder 11. Okay, this was beyond coincidental. This was strange. What? I mean, I was saying, what did you just say? It took a while for them to tell me the strange story that had led them to blurt out murder 11. Earlier in the day, Oliver and Elliot had noticed murder 11 written in red chalk on a rock out the front of the school. When I heard them say murder 11, on top of having just heard them talking about Owen, I felt my head start swimming, and I almost fell over backwards. I swear I never once mentioned Jake to them. Jacob Owen Wetterling was murdered aged 11. I couldn't stop myself from blurting out then about how my Mount Agung volcano prediction is kind of connected to a boy whose middle name is Owen and who was murdered aged 11. They were utterly dumbfounded and visibly astounded by this, but not too spooked. Probably because they're 8. Elliot still wasn't done with amazing me, either. Over the next 5 minutes he came out with gunshots. One gunshot, then another gunshot, more than one. There were 3 gunshots. I was swaying on my feet by this stage. Last year, Jake's killer, Danny Heinrich, confessed to murdering Jake and admitted that he'd shot him twice. Actually, it was the year before last. But it was last year, when I wrote this. The first time he pulled the trigger, the pistol had failed to go off. I told them that the boy's first name was Jacob. Then a couple of minutes later, I told them Jacob's surname, Wetterling, which is German and in Jake's case, is German in Jake's case. At some point during the ensuing conversation, Elliot mentioned the word effeminate, for reasons that weren't clear in my memory 2 hours later. Jacob Wetterling, it sounds familiar, Elliot said. I think I've heard about him. Who was the suspect? Not just a suspect, the killer's name was Danny, I said. Danny. This is connecting, Elliot said. I heard about a murder. Elliot was thinking about a murder he'd heard about in the news, which of course kids do hear and see the news, which very recently, which he thought also involved a killer named Danny. But what he'd heard was too recent for it to have been Jake's 28-year-old case, which was solved in 2016. I never heard Jake's case mentioned in the Australian news. Then, 5 minutes later, Elliot randomly cried, "Murder in the USA!" And he said it a couple of times. Yelled it. I hadn't told him which country Jacob was from. I asked them to guess which country Jake was from, and they guessed Norway or Germany. This made sense as I had mentioned both countries along the way. Elliot was totally oblivious to the fact that he'd just blurted out the correct answer a minute or 2 earlier. Murder in the USA. And I just inserted this today. Elliot was flying to the USA today, as in Friday, 4th of May, 2018. Today. And it's now 8:07 on Friday, 4th of May, in Indonesia. And that means it's 11:07 here, near Canberra. And kind of weird, huh? And he was going there to attend the wedding of his auntie and uncle. He would have flown right past Hawaii. These kids are all 8 years old and highly intelligent for their age, in my opinion. They're only at the end of year 2 and going into year 3 next year. Well, they're in year 3 now. They are young children by any standard, unless your comparison group of preschoolers. The boys also came up with some alternative times, including one that might have been 3:42. Elliot also mentioned the numbers 51 and 15. That surprised me. How many days are there in between Oliver's 9th birthday, today, and Samuel's 9th birthday? So yes, it's Oliver's birthday today, and it's now 8:08, Friday, 4th of May. What's happening with our weather? 24 now, in Sydney, the wind speed. Nathan was born on the 24th. And the Mirror Boy's age, 15. So how many days between Oliver's birthday and Samuel's birthday? Samuel, the boy with the red hat, the boy who was born in Jakarta. Oliver, the blonde boy, the Norwegian boy. So, how many days in between their birthdays? How many days? And what is it with blonde boys and twins? What's going on? Friday, 4th of May 2018 is 51 days before Sunday, 24th of June 2018. Oliver's 9th birthday is 51 days before Samuel's 9th birthday. The value of Hawaii. And guess what? When I googled Hawaii today, well, I actually googled volcanic eruptions to see what news is going on. Hawaii volcano eruption possible after hundreds of earthquakes hit island. Eruption imminent. 600 earthquakes shake Hawaii in 4 days. So that volcanic eruption has since got underway and they're evacuating people in Hawaii. So I didn't know anything about this until today when I googled volcanic eruption. The last time I googled volcanic eruption a couple of days ago, it was all about Yellowstone and the geyser, the Steamboat Geyser. Today, it's all about Hawaii. So there was a change there. And in the news section of Google, from Googling volcanic eruption, yeah, again, it's all about Hawaii. And this is from earlier, this is from before the eruption began. When I did this Google search, it has since erupted. But I noticed something else too, here, because Nathan was saying there was going to be triplet signs on my birthday, and there was. The triplet was on April 27, which was my birthday. Anyway, back to our thing. Hawaii just happens to be the number of days between the two birthdays, Oliver's and Samuel's. Angelic, demon, 51 and 15, 66. Name the twin. 6 and 6 is 12. The 12-year-old identical twin boys in Red Rain by R.L. Stein are Daniel and Samuel. They are described as blonde, identical twin angels. They look sweet and angelic, but in reality, Daniel is a lot more like a demon than an angel, and Samuel has a dangerous gift. Samuel has the psychic gift of pyrokinesis, which means he can generate and project heat with his eyes, much more than enough to set things ablaze if he so chooses. He can also turn the heat down low and project warmth onto the brain of others, thereby causing them to fall into a hypnotic trance. Then they can be easily programmed by his evil twin brother before acting on autopilot in a hypnotic trance state. And, like the twins in Red Rain, Jake Chambers in The Dark Tower by Stephen King is blonde, a blonde boy. He has blonde hair, angelic looks. The blonde, 11 to 13-year-old boy, he's 11 at the start, Jake Chambers in The Dark Tower by Stephen King, likewise has a distinct hypnotic quality about him at times, for various reasons not always linked to his psychic gift. Jake Chambers is described as having the touch. He has an inherent strong psychic ability and notices reflections of the world into which he eventually emerges while he's still living in New York City, which is where Elliot went today. 6 times 6 is 36. Oh, and by the way, the time right now, 8:13 in Jakarta. 8, Jake's life path number, 13, Nathan's age. Or where I am, it's 11:13. Jake's age, Nathan's age, 11 and 13. 11, also the age of Jake Chambers. 6 6 is 36. Lava child equals 36. Angel equals 39. He's a 12-year-old boy who was a murder victim in Germany at the age of 12. Already said 12. He was killed by a businessman. Today I googled volcanic, or like a professional worker. Today I googled volcanic eruption to see what was making news. I discovered there had been over 600 earthquakes in Hawaii, which have triggered evacuations ahead of a feared volcanic eruption. An eruption has started since I wrote this, and there is now lava erupting along a new rift line on the big island of Hawaii. The numerous earthquakes preceding this eruption of Hawaii's Kilauea volcano had already knocked the eruption of the Yellowstone Steamboat Geyser off as the top-ranked news on Google search. So I was just showing you that before. It was all Yellowstone before Hawaii got going, but there's still something about the Yellowstone eruption still on here as well. But it's mostly now about Hawaii. Still a bit about Yellowstone. Geyser. Steamboat Geyser. So, the numerous earthquakes preceding this eruption of Hawaii's Kilauea volcano, yes, did knock it off the news. I've already read that. One of the remaining Yellowstone stories at the top of the Google search engine began, Steamboat Geyser reared its ugly head in the Norris Geyser Basin, where the monstrous source of scalding hot water erupted 3 times in rapid succession. Steamboat first spewing boiling water into the sky on March 15, then on April 19, and finally on April 27. And there is the steamboat in action. Yeah, so there is what I was just talking about. This article here. And Nathan's prediction of a triplet sign on my birthday actually came true. I had no clue what triplet sign meant until I saw it, until I came across the article. And that was just from Googling volcanic eruption. I decided to check the name Norris in my Gematria calculator, and then I added it to my expanding database. Norris equals 93. And that's when I noticed Papandayan equals 93. I noticed the name Papandayan was already there in my 93 alignment, and from memory I thought it might be the name of a town near Mount Galunggung in Java. I googled the word Papandayan, and I was surprised to discover that it wasn't a town, but rather the name of a mountain and an active volcano in West Java not far from Galunggung. I started reading the Wikipedia entry for Mount Papandayan, and the end of the first paragraph really grabbed my attention. The eruption translated the volcano into a broad shape with 2 peaks and a flat area 1.1 kilometers wide, with Alun Alun crater in the middle, making the mountain appear as a twin volcano. One of the peaks is called Papandayan and the other Mount Pantang. I entered Puntang into my Gematria calculator, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the result. Puntang had the same SEG value as Papandayan on 93, which is a reflection of Angel equals 39. Puntang, Mount Kilauea, also equals 93. Red Angel Jake, Angels Dahlia, Twin Jake, the Brats, Twin Code, Daniel James Heinrichs, the codename, Elliot, Mount Holy, Red Twin, I'm Samuel, I'm Steve. 93 plus 39, 132. Angel Papandayan, Angel Puntang, Blonde Twins. And I previously did a big thing on the number 132. I think it's somewhere here. the number 132. So 3 6s, 666, Martha Swan, who's a character in Red Rain. These all add up to 132. Danny Heinrich. There's a whole heap of stuff here that has a value of 132. Samuel with his red eyes and his psychic gift. Light My Fire, Jacob's Volcano. Tambora Trio, Steamboat Child, Sean Myrtle. And the number 26 we've had pop up a couple of times tonight. 13 and 2 is 15. Sean Myrtle is the 15-year-old boy character of my imagination who ventures into the lighthouse at Vaucluse in Sydney on Thursday 6th of December 2018, 16 days before his 16th birthday on Saturday 22nd of December 2018. Yet to happen. Yet to happen. Vaucluse in Sydney, the lighthouse, is haunted. 1 and 3 and 2 is 6. Kilauea Volcano equals 142, the same value as Western Park. Mount Kilauea, John Jake Chambers, the boy in the Dark Tower, his full name. Mount Papandayan, Mount Puntang, twin brats, good twins, David and Jules. And again I did a much bigger one on 126 as well. Alignment, that is, in one of my previous videos. But interestingly, this is a reflection. Javanese twins is a reflection of this number. Hot Javanese boy, boy was Javanese. Magma has the same value as Dahlia, and Dahlia was the storm that formed near Java before moving down towards Australia, the first cyclone of the season. So that's when I decided that maybe I'd found my volcano. Maybe it was in Java where Samuel was born, after all. All along, ever since 13th of December last year, I've been thinking it might be a volcano in Java, and I was looking at Galangang pretty hard for a while before I turned my attention to Mount Tambora on the island of Sumbawa. I've been thinking the prophecy has got something to do with identical twins and reflected images. Today all these things came together just as Mount Kilauea erupted in a big and unusual way in Hawaii. And I've already put this photo in my previous videos, and it is of Mount Kilauea in Hawaii. Then what happens? Mount Kilauea does its most massive eruption in decades, just 2 days later. So yeah, I'm pretty convinced something's happened today. Oliver's birthday. Oliver's birthday, and something big happened with a volcano. And it means something. The Mirror Boy is 15, and he's turning 16 this year. Jake died on the 22nd. He died aged 11. He died on the 22nd. He never got to be 12. Symbolic equals 98. And what's the time? Oh, it's now 8:22. Jake's life path number is 8, and he died aged 22. He died on the 22nd of October, aged 11. 2 11s are 22. And that's the time now in Jakarta, Indonesia. Friday, 4th of May 2018, which is Oliver's birthday. And like I was just showing you, it's 51 days before Samuel's birthday, as in Samuel, who was born in Jakarta. Nathan turns 23 this year, on the 24th of November.